we're back with what's going to be year 2 of the Orlando Solar Bears PuckCast here at the new 6 Click Orlando Studios. Jesse Liebman here alongside Solar Bears defenseman Mike Monfredo and Alexander Kukali. Guys, good to have you back. It's the first episode of a new season. How you feeling?
Ready to roll, baby.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it started.
Well, busy season, busy start to the season for the team. But before we jump into that, this is our first episode of the new season after all. So, fill the viewers in at home. What have you guys been up to over the off season? It's been a long summer since playoffs ended. So, what have you guys been up to?
My parents actually own a roller hockey rink, so stay busy. My dad tells me to go up there, run the place, whether I'm teaching little kids how to play hockey, reffing, or running the counter, staying busy. But me and my brother also bought a place this summer and just fixed it up and pretty much got our man cave done this time.
Nice.
Oh.
Is that like on Long Island as well?
Yes, on Long Island. It's about 15 minutes from my parents. So it's nice. He only works 6 months out of the year as well. So it made sense for us to buy together because he works on Merchant Marine. So he does 5 weeks out at sea, or 70 days out at sea, and then 70 days at home. So,
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. Me, not much has changed since we caught up in the middle of the summer when I came down. My dad still has a construction company, so working the jobs with him, Coast Guard, Army, a lot of government stuff. I was actually up near Mr. Monfredo here, a lot of Martha's Vineyard, Long Island work. It's usually where a lot of those stations are. But other than that, my mom's in Pittsburgh, so my brother's doing lessons there. So I would come back and kind of the same thing, working on the house, trying to fix it up, just little stuff, and I think that goes a long way. So other than that, happy to be back down here, though. The sun's a little bit nicer down here.
I'm from New York as well. I mean, what's the weather like in the summers, though, in Syracuse? Is it muggy, humid?
Upstate's actually really nice. Rochester, too, where I went to school. Rochester, Syracuse, you got a lot of the Finger Lakes right there. It's not that humid. The summer is definitely the best time. The winters are brutal, that's for sure. But
Can't be playing down in Florida, though.
Right, exactly. Orlando's number one, that's
whole
for sure.
different atmosphere, yeah, down here.
We're in our tanks and shorts at the pool and walking around, and then everyone else is bundled up and freezing, eating soup right now. So I don't mind letting them know every day how much I enjoy living down here.
Well, you still got that brief period in the fall, like up in New York, Pennsylvania area, where it's like the leaves are changing color. Everyone's, it's pumpkin spice season.
I
Is it?
definitely would say, though, that's the only time of the month or the seasons that I miss is the fall time. Sweatpants, hoodie, sitting around like a little bonfire with the friends.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Especially when football season kicks off.
well, Sundays I'm buried on the couch, not moving. You got the game starting at 1 o'clock and last game's at 8:20, and I'm watching every one of those games.
Oh, yeah.
For you, coming from Long Island, where does your allegiance fall with the NFL?
The Giants, even though not having a good year again. It's not good to be a New York fan nowadays.
No, not with the Jets
I don't think
either.
any teams are actually pretty decent.
The Bills.
They're okay, right?
The Bills Mafia.
Bills Mafia. Hey, you know what? I hopped on the train just from my time at school, so, Pats still stomp them, but,
Well, the Pats are unstoppable at this point, I think.
Yeah, the Steelers aren't doing too good either, so I kind of think I have to vote, or I have to root for the Bills, so.
Yeah, tough choice as well as mine, though.
It can be a little rough, but, all things considered, for you with the roller rink stuff over the off season, I gotta imagine that's probably an interesting perspective for you, where you kind of operate as a ref at times. So how's that take into account once the hockey season gets going for you?
I tend to, lose it on the refs a little bit. I kind of put my perspective into it, what I would call or what I wouldn't call. Like guys at my parents' rink think that I have no idea about hockey at all. So when I make a call, they'll start arguing with me. So I'm like, man, you just chopped that guy down. You look like Paul Bunyan out there. What are you doing? And the guy would sit there and argue with me for 5 minutes, and I kind of have to shrug it off because my dad yells at me not to yell at paying customers. So I'm like, all right, he's got a point there. But coming into the season, I just try and look at it in their view on what they're trying to call, and sometimes I don't see it the same way as they do.
What's it like when you have, I know opening night, the referee for the Solar Bears game happened to be, first game that he's officiating regular season in his career, you go up to him at some point and be like, hey, I'll show you a few pointers or something like that?
Depends how well I know the ref. I don't think his first time I would say that, but after playing in the league for 8 years, you kind of know a little bit of the refs here and there, so you can get away with a little bit more. So I kind of, at first, I'm trying to be a little bit friendly with them, so hopefully it pays off.
You build that rapport, and then,
hopefully,
then they trust you.
And later on in the season, I can get away with, maybe a cross-check or two in front of the net, or happen to hit somebody in the head, I can get away with it. Who knows?
Get a couple bonus calls.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I do. Sometimes you just fall over and you kind of act like you're hurt, and next thing you know, you're on a power play.
The old head back, snap, fake the high stick or something.
Right in the corner, just eat one, and just like, my neck. Oh.
I think I seen that last time you played.
Oh yeah, I'm always falling out.
Well, so I wanted to bring this up with you guys just because I happened to catch the Lightning Pittsburgh game that was on NBC Sports last night. Kind of an interesting turn of events late in the game. 2-2, looks like it's heading for overtime, and then all of a sudden the Lightning score they score. They take a 3-2 lead, and then the Penguins pull the goalie, try to tie it up. And with like 0.5 of a second left, goal line save from Andrei Vasilevsky. It goes to video review for a good 10 minutes. So far in the ECHL season for the Solar Bears, this is the first year that the ECHL has adopted video review for goals. We've seen a couple of instances where it's gone to video review. What are your guys' thoughts on now that the ECHL has finally come around and adopted video review?
Well, I think it's good that every team in the league has it now. Like I remember last year, I think it was KZoo, Toledo, Utah. It was just one team in every division, I think, that had it. So then sometimes you would get burned if you weren't in a venue, to have that replay. So I think it's good that every team has it. I think a couple instances we've already had where
it went against us.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't think that was a goal anyway. I think you could tell. I'll just speak my mind. I think you could tell from the Jumbotron that it hit the crossbar and went out. So
you're talking about opening night, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see, though, the cameras that they're using during the video replay. Because I know if I wasn't to make a road trip and I was to watch from my parents' account the game, it's too far away to see what is actually going on. It's not zoomed in on the game.
Right.
It's a faraway distance. So I would like to see what kind of angle they're looking at, and why don't they look at, maybe take a peek up at the Jumbotron, say, okay, all right, let me go back to the camera and see it.
So my understanding of it is that they've got a camera above each net, and the signal or the feed from those cameras, it goes to a tablet that's in the scorekeeper's box. So they're seeing exactly bird's eye view above the net. Did it cross the goal line? Did it not? So
it's kind of hard when no one else sees it either.
Yeah, that's got to be the frustrating thing.
They didn't have
the
the goal judge didn't see it. He didn't sign the siren, so to say it went in the net. But according to them, they seen something that moved, the puck crossed the goal line and called it a goal against us. And obviously, Kook said from the Jumbotron, it looked like it went straight crossbar and out.
Hey, I'm in total agreement with you guys. We saw another goal in that game awarded to the Solar Bears that went to, it was a quick video review. I think it was obvious to everyone, Ivan Kosarenkov getting his first of the game. That one hit the back of the net and, rippled out pretty quickly. So, but that ultimately ended up standing up as a good goal after video review as well. So, probably some fine tuning that needs to be maybe done and, as teams learn to adapt with that being a part of the rules now.
Well,
but
speaking for myself, it's kind of hard being a one ref trying to see everything that's going on. The linesman could make a judgment call to kind of help out, maybe keep an eye on it. But for a single referee to get up and down the rink is kind of difficult, because behind the play you have a little whack-in, pushing here and there to get away with things. But then he's got to look up ice and might have missed something up the ice. So in that sense, I think a two-ref system would be a little bit better, which I think they should adapt to. But for now, I think we're going to see a lot of video replays on goals that were potential, that could have happened or didn't happen, and we'll be watching a lot of replays.
So you think they'll kind of use it more as a crutch than anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Fredo. Just the game's too fast and there's so much going on. It's really hard for one ref to be able to monitor everything, especially when you're I mean, you're making a call that could really change the influence of the game one way or the other. So,
How do you think that dynamic changes? In the ECHL playoffs. So once you get to the postseason, they do go to 2 refs for every game. How do you think that maybe changes the dynamic with video review now?
I just think it's way more accurate, and you, like Fredo said, you're able to bounce an idea off of someone else who's looking at the same thing that you are, rather than having everything solely on yourself, where like it's just that much more added pressure to make sure that you're
right. Instead of having to watch behind the play at the 2 guys whacking each other, now you could focus on the play that's going up the ice because you know that you are the refs behind watching everything going on. So it makes it a little bit less stressful, like he said, on the refs as well.
So far this season, team's off to an 0-3 start. Probably not what anyone had expected or certainly hoped for. But, I don't think from my perspective, seeing you guys practicing every day at the RDV, no one's panicking yet. No one's panicking. It's still far too early, I think, before, people start even getting concerned or worried. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? It seemed like a pretty upbeat practice today.
Like you said, there's no need to panic. It's a 72-game system or a season, so 3 games is really nothing. It kind of stinks to fall behind the 8 ball already, but guys are up and ready to go. We just got to stay ready, stick to the game plan. You could see when we actually do the game plan, it works, but we kind of stray away from it when things are going our way. Take that second game against South Carolina. We had 10, 15 chances to score, and their goalie's making big saves. It kind of drains a little energy out of you, so to say, because you have a wide open net and you're missing it, or the goalie's making a crazy save. But you got to learn to just block it out and keep moving forward from there.
Yeah, I think we've had a really sharp couple days of practice, and I agree with Fredo. I mean, you never want to start off 0-3, but it's a long season. It's a very long season, and we've played a lot of seasons, ourselves, and the teams go up and down, and you might start off hot and then go on a skid. Personally, I think I'd rather deal with it now, nip it in the bud, and move on from there. It's not something you ever want to deal with, but I've been on teams where we've had rough starts, and then you get hot, you just ride the wave and you try and do the right things every day, and hopefully it translates, and it usually does when you work hard. So we've certainly been putting in a couple hard weeks of practice here. So we got 2 good tests this weekend, and hopefully we can come out with a couple wins, and that's the plan. That's everyone's staying positive. So
it kind of occurs to me, I have you guys sitting here with us. You're both defensemen. You both were, if I'm not mistaken, you were teammates prior to coming to the Solar Bears when you guys both played in Quad City. So, I mean, you guys probably go a little bit of a ways back, and you probably know a little bit of each other's tendencies. I mean, tell me, what's one thing that the other one probably wouldn't know about the other?
Well, it was a quick little stint in Quad City. I kind of got traded right away.
Right.
So it was only maybe a week, so I really didn't
Okay, so it was a really quick turnaround.
Yeah, so I really didn't get to know them that well. They kind of were cleaning house in Quad City, and they fired the head coach, and then 2 days later, I got traded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick. It was the day after rookie party, actually.
Oh, boy.
And we kind of lost Kooks. New guy came to the team first year. Kind of lost him a little bit. And when I got the phone call in the morning, hey, you got to come to the rink. I was like, do I have to come right now? Like, we just had rookie party. You knew about this? And like, yeah, you got to come.
Oh, boy.
So that was the last thing on my mind, saying, hey, you got traded. I thought it was definitely someone got in trouble for doing something, or someone caught the team doing X, Y, and Z. So I got to the rink and told me right away, hey, we're sending you to Rapid City. I was kind of choked up about that. I mean, they were last in the league. I think they had like 8-9 wins. So it was a tough season for them.
It was a little tough, yeah. But me and Fredo, we actually played against each other when, was that like 10 years ago now?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
In the Null, yeah. We're young, but yeah, no, we played a lot of hockey before. But I just remember seeing this Monfredo guy, everyone was talking about him, and played against him. He's just hands in everybody's faces, washing everyone, and I'm just like, this guy is terrifying.
He's come a long way since then.
He's got like 200 some penalty minutes, and I'm just like, I hope this guy doesn't even look at me.
Yeah, I lost my mind my 21 year, just 248 PIMs. I think I was taking a 10 almost every game, pretty much. Just
And that's in the null. Like, they don't even allow fighting in the null, or do they?
no, they do.
Oh, trust
Yeah,
me, they do.
Yeah, I think my last game of the season, I fought 3 times, got kicked out, took a 10 because I was yelling at the ref. I tried to go after him at one point.
Because they don't allow fighting in college hockey, right?
No, yeah,
no fighting.
So how does that work if you're playing like United States on the junior circuit, whether it's the NAHL or USHL, where they allow fighting, but then you get to college and you stop?
It's just the NCAA. You know, they got their grip on everything, and there's no fighting there. And you're also wearing cages too, so I think that's one thing they try to limit. I think injuries, but it's kind of like maybe, I guess, what I've seen or heard from like European hockey when there's not as much policing and fighting like that. Sometimes dangerous plays, you know, come into more like hits and stuff like that, where you might not have to answer to anything.
I'm guessing you hear a lot of that from like your brother, right? When he's
my brother and a lot of my friends from RIT, they're over there, and sometimes they're just a little bit more dirty hits and plays like that. And
I would like to see, though, the NCAA maybe go to visors, maybe allow fighting, just because the sole reason that when you get drafted or you move on, right, you got to get used to using a visor. Now there's fighting, which there's an intimidation factor with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there could be the most skilled guy in the world, and once you get into the mix of fighting and stuff like that, he shies away. So I think it would be maybe okay, maybe not fighting so much, but for the visor part, same thing. Guys shy away. They see a puck coming high sticks, so on. So it's a little bit of a transition as you gotta call it, I see.
So would you say across the board for all NCAA hockey, or would just like maybe D1 or D3, or where do you think it comes into play?
Well, the way they operate it is kind of like a whole blanket. Like if they change, I mean, definitely not women's.
No, definitely not with the women.
But
I mean, that's a different story.
I think men's D1, D3, D2. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure there's D2.
There's D2, but I think it's like it's like literally one conference.
Yeah, but I think they would have to change everything if they did one. But I agree with everything Mike just said. I think it's a whole new spectrum on the game once you kind of include visors into it, because like you said, sometimes people just shy away. You know, when you play with a cage, you're really fearless. You have nothing to be afraid of.
People are diving in front of the pucks head first to block a shot. Like, it's absolutely insane when some people are doing that. But when you come into a visor, you're not diving face first. I mean, you may trip into a puck face first, but you're definitely not sliding face first into a puck.
No, so the game's a little bit different. So
and they just changed the rule in our league. We have, I believe it's 10 fights and then you get suspended, where we had 15 guys last year with over 10 fights. Some guys were up in the 18s or 20 fights a year.
Right.
Now that's changing. So the game's changing a little bit, where the fighting aspect, maybe they're trying to take out of it, and they're starting with us to see how it works out. So 10 fights, 1 game, 11 fights, I think it's 2 games, and so on and so forth. So,
I mean, for the ECHL, it always builds itself as a developmental league. So I guess if I had to put on my thinking cap and wonder, well, why are they doing that? Obviously, the fans certainly come and they're entertained by the fights, and you might see a slight reduction. But I think if anything, at the end of the day, it probably was done to protect the players. I mean, if it is a developmental league and you've got a lot of young guys coming in, but at the same time, I mean, in the NHL and the American League, if you're developing and trying to move on to the next level, wouldn't it make sense to be prepared to know how to fight?
A little bit. I think they're trying to do away with that whole enforcer role, where you don't need that tough guy that's just out there really not that well of a skater that can go out there and fight. Like, you need to have a little bit of skill in your game to go out there. Like, maybe like an Eric Lindros kind of, a grinder, a guy that goes out there, can bang bodies, put pucks in the net. They're trying to get maybe more of those guys, per se.
Right, not straight up that, cookie cutter mold of, you're going out there literally just try and scare guys, but you can't really play, because then, say you maybe get a forward down or two, and then if you have to insert that guy into the lineup and he's not, I guess, up to par with the other players, and your team's really going to struggle from that. But I agree with you. I think it's good for everyone to know how to, stick up for themselves and make sure that you can protect yourself, because I think if you go throughout playing, I guess, your younger years, and then now you're coming into the ECHL, AHL, and you want to move up to the NHL. Like, there's a lot of hungry guys out there, and they only get bigger and stronger and faster. So if you don't learn early, then I think you could be really in a tough spot.
You'll get exposed real quick like that, though, too. Like, you'll play one game, you'll see that guy shying away and kind of take advantage of that guy, so to say.
Yeah, and you might not ever get a chance again if you react like he just said. So we'll see how it goes.
Big stretch of games this weekend. You got a home and home with the Florida Everblades, so always love seeing those guys. I'm sure we saw them a little bit in the preseason. Each team got a win. I mean, you guys probably have looked at some videos so far and trying to get a sense of their tendencies. I mean, what are you anticipating for this weekend's set of games?
They're the same team no matter what. I mean, played 2 years now in a row for the last 2 years, so they tend to, they have a game plan. They stick to it very well. When they score, it seems to come in bunches, so you got to kind of nip it right away. When they score, you kind of go out there with a momentum swinger, maybe a big shift, a big block shot or something like that. But once they start losing, that's when the chippiness sets in. And, if we're not smart enough to kind of avoid it and we start playing like that, that's when we get taken off our game. And then all of a sudden, they put 2 pucks in the net. We find ourselves, we're tied, and the momentum's in their way, and we're in big trouble then. So we got to learn to just play with a lot of controlled emotion this weekend.
Yeah, definitely getting a good start. At least every time we've had success, we've always seemed to score first. So I think that's really key to get off to a good start. And just being able to play hard, stay within the structure, and not let them get us off our game. That's really it, because then penalties come, you might take a retaliatory one, give them more opportunities, and they're a skilled team. You don't take it away from them, but we certainly don't need to give them any more opportunities than they would normally. So if we can stick to our structure, like we said, like we did in preseason, I thought we did a really good job, especially that first game of we were able to get up a couple goals and stay with that and keep them on their heels, because I think once they're behind the 8 ball, they kind of start to maybe crumble, and we can take advantage of those opportunities when they're trying to maybe make more offensive plays. So
it was kind of interesting down in the preseason. They're undergoing some renovations to their arena, putting in a new video board. They had a new ownership change over the season, so they completely redid the suites and the press level up where I'm kind of based calling the game. But during the preseason, they had taken out their whole sound system, I guess. How weird was that, where you're coming out for warm-ups, there's no music, there's no PA feed, the guy's using an air horn to indicate the end of the period or a goal? I mean, what was that like?
I don't know. I don't think you're ever too surprised with anything that happens in this league. From buses breaking down to no music, and literally nobody's talking out there, because I don't think anyone knew what to do. Even on the other team, we were all just kind of looking at each other, and we're like, all right, well, this
you're kind of just laughing. Maybe I should have worn my headphones out here so I could get ready and listen to some music for the game. Definitely was a weird feeling going no music. I know for me, I like to sing along a little bit, get a little shuffle going to the music. So it's kind of wow, where the heck is the music? And then you heard the air horn go off, and kind of looking around, seeing what the heck is that?
The guys on both teams were just kind of looking at each other, all right, well, hey, see you out here for the game. There's no anthem when we got back up.
There was no anthem either.
So it was just it was like a midget hockey game where you're just all right, refs out here, drop the puck, let's go.
Definitely had a good laugh in the locker room with all the boys just talking about it, and everyone's just oh my gosh, what's going on? Especially the first year guys, is this really
is this
what's
typical?
happening?
Yeah,
they're no, this doesn't go on normally. It's okay, don't worry.
Well, from what I understand, they still haven't put the new video board in. That's not going to be in until, I think, the weekend that we go in there for a back-to-back in early November. But I guess they put in some temporary video screens at each end of the rink. So I guess the new sound system, or the sound system's back in and hooked up. So hopefully it'll feel like a regular season game when we go down this weekend down to Estero.
I definitely don't mind the Jumbotron doesn't bother me. I very rarely look up at it. Or actually, I do. I check myself out. I'm not going to lie. Make sure I'm looking good.
We got the kiss cam on, right?
No, but, definitely the music's an important part, I think. Kind of get the boys humming around because in the locker room, you're listening to music and all of a sudden you go on the ice and it's just dead silent.
Yeah.
So there's pretty much no talking, no nothing. Guys are kind of just like laughing. I mean, a little loose, but definitely the music is a huge factor to kind of get warmed up and get going. Otherwise, you kind of look a little sluggish.
Well, that kind of actually is a perfect segue into the warm-up mix that we're playing at the Amway Center now, because I understand that you guys basically had like full carte blanche to pick the whole warm-up music. Is that correct? Or
I believe,
yes.
right?
So what's up? Because it's all over the place.
They gave us a mix, and it was straight techno music. There was no words to it. And a lot of guys didn't like that. I mean, there was some good beats, but I like to sing along, hear a lot of words coming out. I know a lot of guys do that too,
Yeah.
So we put together a mix of songs that we like to hear.
And that everyone kind of knew, and everyone could like agree that you would jam, So
Yeah, you have some techno songs. You got a couple rap songs in there. Then
yeah, I think we have one country one.
country
right?
song. You
Something
see
like
all the
that,
boys skating off the ice. They're kind of high stepping, so to say. They're really jacked up, ready to go, get the game started.
Yeah, and you want to get the fans into it too. You want to play something that maybe the songs they know. They'll sing, they'll get into it. You just want to get everyone kind of rolling.
So I mean, so is it a collective decision on who makes it, or is there one guy that's like the DJ in the locker room?
Donaghy usually is the DJ, but he kind of takes requests upon anybody, whatever you have to throw out there. He'll kind of put on for you and
Give you a shot.
definitely give you the shot, and then all of a sudden the boys will start booing the song. next, and kind of that song kind of just fades away.
You got to do your homework before you make a request, because otherwise you might not get another chance.
I do find a lot of guys do like the 2000 raps, though.
Yeah, it's
So,
a lot of
Like some Eminem, some Dr. Dre.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Biggie, a lot of flashbacks. I'll say that. Not as much as the new mumble stuff. Not that it's not bad. Some of the songs are good, but I'd say we have a lot more throwbacks than normal.
I think today was a big R&B throwback day.
In the locker room
Pretty
afterwards.
sure I heard an Alicia Keys song on at one point. I don't know what was going on.
Yes, it was an interesting vibe, but we had a good practice, so we'll take it.
There you go. You carried it in. Maybe Alicia Keys is the missing ingredient here for the start of the
Hey,
season.
we're gonna find
She
out.
does have a nice voice. I'll give her that.
She is a nice singer.
So, as far as I know, it's not necessarily a hockey thing, but in baseball, guys have like their walk-up songs when they go up to the plate. So, I mean, what would your guys' walk-up song be if you had like one song that would get you completely jacked up for
Ooh,
Might
stepping
be
out to the ice?
Many Men by 50 Cent.
probably New Level, ASAP Ferg.
Oh, that's a good one. I wish I said that first. That's such a good one, too.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't recognize either of those songs by their title, so I guess I just need to expand my horizons.
Definitely can't sing it on this.
No, absolutely not. We can't sing it, but to our listeners, give it a listen. See what the boys would come out to.
Maybe the edited version.
Yeah, right.
Swear
Clean
words and
version.
curse
Yeah.
words in there. So.
Yeah, we don't need no cuss words.
Of course, we got to keep it clean. It's all family-friendly entertainment, right?
Exactly.
Always.
There you go. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, we've talked a little hockey, and certainly we talked a little bit about the tough start to the season. It's always good to get away from the rink and, find that downtime for yourself. I guess you've been pretty busy with that, though, from what I understand. You got a new puppy.
Mr. Manfredo!
Yes, became a fur father, as some would like to say. Got a yellow lab. She's 8 weeks. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. But yeah, she's a little bit of a handful. She doesn't like her cage right now, so got to kind of wear her out. Like last night, I put her to bed. She was trying to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, but I wouldn't let her go to bed till about 10 o'clock, so she was very mad at me. So finally got her to bed at 10. She was up at 4 to go to the bathroom. And then all of a sudden, took 20 minutes to play with her again and put her in the kennel. But before I came here, I walked her, played with her. As soon as I put her in the kennel, she lost her mind. And I felt kind of bad for my neighbors, but it happens.
Wasn't too happy. But
She's got to be pretty tiny, though, at this point, so she can't be, like, too loud, is she? Or
Yeah, but they have that. She's not very big. She's 10 pounds at the most, probably less than that, but it's that high-pitched squeal that they let out that just pierces through you. So kind of feel bad.
Walls and everything.
Yeah, it just pierces your ears, and I'm like, oh no, can you please stop? But yesterday, Brodzinski actually watched it for me because we had another team event, and he enjoyed it. And I got a lot of snaps from him. He's got 2 dogs at home, his parents, and then him and his girlfriend have one, so trusted him with her, and I have to say he did tire her out for me, so when I got home I didn't have to do anything. I got to sit on the couch for a little bit while she napped.
Now, is this the first dog you've ever had, or have you had one back home in New York?
My parents had an Old English Mastiff. He was 180 pounds. So he was very calm and relaxed. So he would walk himself down the street, and people would always think we're walking a horse. So all the dogs would come, bark at him, and he would just keep moving and look at him like, I would destroy you pretty much. Like, leave me alone, yeah. But he was a big cuddle monster.
Well, there you go. Well, now you've got a little cuddle monster of your own. I have to imagine that's got to be comforting, especially as the season will get going. And
Right now, she's a little demon, I would like to say. But yeah, hopefully she'll grow into that cuddle monster.
Is she in like the teething phase?
Oh, yes.
That's gotta be brutal.
Trying to bite everything, but, bought her a couple chew toys, a couple bones, and she's doing a good job with that. But once you get your hands down, she tries to nip at them. She realized about the door stopper, the one that you flick and it comes back. Yeah, exactly. It makes that noise. She kind of discovered that thing, and she was going 20 minutes preoccupied. I didn't have to do a thing. She just sat there smacking it, and then run around the house, come back to it, smack it again, bark a couple times. So it was pretty actually funny to see.
We got to get her out to the rink at some point.
Yeah, she's made a couple of trips already. She came to 2220. We had her over, inaugural visit. I accidentally put her to sleep. He wasn't too happy about that. I was rubbing her little bib, a little white spot right here, and she just slowly started fading off. She was fighting it, and then she just rolled over. So,
really ruined her nap time.
I ruined it for him. He had to keep her. He had to wake her up again. So
Perfect.
But yeah, I plan on maybe bringing her to the rink, throwing her on the ice. I see a lot of teams that have done that, so maybe take her out for a whirl around and see what she does.
Yeah, throw a couple pucks at her, see what happens.
Don't hit her too hard.
Not
She's just
too
a puppy.
hard,
Yeah, not too hard.
I mean, that's got to be comforting, though. Like, once she kind of gets out of that adolescent puppy phase and kind of gets some training in her, it's going to probably be relaxing to be able to come home from the road and,
Oh, absolutely. A dog always puts a smile on your face. No matter what kind of day you're having, when you always get home, the dog's happy to see you. So it always makes you feel good. Like, I came home, I had a crap day at the rink, and, I'm not upset with myself. I had a bad practice, a bad game, whatever, and you get home and there's this happy little thing just excited to see you, and it really cheers you up.
Well, hopefully, in addition to looking forward to coming home to the happy puppy, you're looking forward to coming home with a couple of wins this weekend. So I think that probably calls for as good a time as any to wrap up episode 1 of season 2 of the Orlando Solar Bears podcast. Again, thanks to Mike Monfredo and Alexander Kukali for joining us. Solar Bears take the ice at Amway Center on Friday, take on the Florida Everblades, and then head down to Estero on Saturday for the conclusion of that home and home. And then next Tuesday, Boo with the Bears, Halloween time at Amway Center. So what could be greater than that? What are you guys going for as Halloween?
I don't know. Those onesies are pretty cool. I might get the chicken one, but I was also Ace Ventura last year when he comes out of the insane asylum. So I don't know. I like wearing that pink tutu. We'll see if I make a repeat.
It'll be the first time in Orlando.
Maybe I'll go as Dorothy and take the dog with me as Toto in a little basket.
I like it.
Thinking outside the box. I don't know about how comfortable I am dressing up as a woman. Maybe I'll have to go with something else. But right now,
Scarecrow.
pointing towards that.
Go as the Scarecrow.
Yeah, but it doesn't have Toto the dog.
Yeah,
so
you wouldn't be able
you'd
to-
have to be.
Oh, you'd
it would
have to buy the
have to.
costume
Yeah, you would
separate.
have to be Dorothy.
We'll spitball a couple ideas around. We'll figure something out, though.
We all have something cool lined up for the game.
Yeah.
Oh, for the game.
Yeah, maybe I'll come out in a little costume for the game. No one will know who I am.
Or maybe, I don't know, I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle my freshman year of college. So that was a good one.
Which
Yeah,
one were you?
Always Michelangelo. I love pizza. So
Yeah, he is the best one. I
He is
have
the
to
best.
say. But we can get 3 guys. Goes to Ninja Turtles. Maybe get Master Splinter involved in that.
Oh, how
Go
about
as,
that? A big
Who'd be the
rat
good-
rolling
who'd be
around
the-
Amway?
Who'd be the Master Splinter of the Solar Bears roster?
I think Dylan fits. He's a big rat. So
Yeah, he is.
we'll definitely make him.
Yeah, we'll bully him into doing that one.
Perfect. Looking forward to what should be a fun weekend of hockey, and next week, obviously, Halloween right around the corner. So, again, thanks, guys, for joining us. Until next time, this has been the Orlando Solar Bears PuckCast.